Hey everyone, welcome to the Heart Healthy Hustle Show. You're in for a treat today, so stay tuned.
What are you getting after? What seeds are you planting? What are you overcoming? Think big. Think even bigger. Take some risks. God's got your back. Go for it. Don't hold back. Don't ever have regrets in your life. Go fail. Go grow from those things. Live your life.
Your identity is not defined by your successes or your failures.
If you're not happy where you're at, you won't be happy where you're going. Choose to do the things that will make you the person you want to be, that will make you a better person next week and next year.
You're going to have to leave some things you're actually good at behind so that you can find what you're wired for, what you're born for.
Being a world-class entrepreneur is being in every area of life excellent.
It is the little things that are so easy not to do.
The best thing that you can do is assume the best in people.
I want people around the world to believe they can do something great with their life.
If I build the biggest business, but I destroy my physical body and I lose my health, I don't think that's success. While you're on the journey climbing to success, never forget the things that matter most.
If you like this episode, be sure to hit the subscribe button. A special treat today. At the end of this interview, you're going to hear how you can win a one-on-one 25-minute coaching call with Evan Carmichael. One-on-one, you can win. Listen to the end of this interview to learn how. July 8th, 2019. I'm your host, your friend Jonathan Frederick, with episode 112. I appreciate you tuning into this. We are reworking some of the audio. I hope it sounds great in your car. Shout out again to the friend Paul Patiri. Before episode 20, around that time, he gave me some feedback saying it's too bass heavy. And I really appreciate that, Paul, because, and I've told you this many times before, but that saved about 80 episodes from being almost unlistenable. Because when your bass is too high, when you try to listen to a heavy bass audio track, whether that's an interview, a podcast, it's very hard to stand listening to it when the bass is too high. It's overbearing. Let's put it that way. This episode, this is a recurring guest. This is a round two. For those of you who don't know, appeared on the show in 2018, in June of 2018. Evan Carmichael is a popular author and a businessman working to solve what he calls the world's biggest problem, untapped human potential. Since our conversation last, I've appeared on one of his YouTube video intros. I have appeared personally on his Instagram Live with millions of followers across social media. Last time we had Evan on, he had over 1.3 million YouTube subscribers. Today, Evan's self-titled YouTube channel is just nearing 2 million subscribers with over 6,026 videos, and he just invites you to join him. And Evan gave me some feedback when he was on the show, and we're going to play that clip for you right now. All right,
you want some feedback?
I would love some.
Yeah, listen. So, I do a ton of podcasts. I think you're one of the smarter people that I've ever done a podcast with, which is great. I think to really amp it up, you just got to make it more personal to you, right? Like, what are you struggling with that your guests can help you with?
Yeah. Okay.
Like, whoever you bring on, obviously you care about them in some way. You like their message somehow. Awesome. Use it as free coaching for you. All your questions are great, but like we jump like to the next question. And there's a little bit of commentary, but where the real value will be is like you're struggling with it. You're trying to build up this thing, this movement. What are you struggling with? And get a little personal and vulnerable about that, and then have your guests come and help you, and your audience will love it. And it's not being selfish. Like it's the most selfless thing you can do, because if your guest is feeling like they're actually helping you and contributing to you, it will just up the energy and the value in each episode that comes out.
Do you think that is because most people are looking at it from if I was the interviewer?
Yeah, I think you're just, honestly, I think you're too smart for your own good.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That's weird.
You're a really smart guy, and you just need to feel more now. Like you got to be in the interview and feel. You had some moments, but now I want to make it personal to you as how I can help you. And this is going to be great for all your guests. Is they want to feel like they're making an impact. And so if they know that they're helping you with something, then that's radiating out through your entire community as well. So I try to come with a problem that you're facing, or as you start talking, like you never know where an interview is going to go. It's fine. But if I said anything that is remotely applicable to your life, let's talk about that. Like, how are you going to apply it? Or what are you struggling with that I might be able to give some input on that could help you? I think that's the missing piece for you, because you're super smart, and I just think that might actually be hurting you in this situation.
That makes tremendous. I will definitely apply that.
Cool.
Yeah. Anything else you'd be willing to share with me?
No, I love it. I mean, I consume a ton of content too. I consume a ton of content. Are you still recording this?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going to be on the show though.
It can be. I don't care. Put it on the show. I'm good with it.
Okay.
If you are, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I consume a ton of content, and I'm so pissed at the interviewers because somebody's asking Elon Musk a question. He gives this great answer, and then they just move on to their next question without can you go deeper? Ask him a follow-up question, right? Right. So I would embrace the willingness to throw away half your questions if the guest is saying something awesome that you want to pull that thread.
That's great.
And it may mean you don't hit that last two questions, or you have one that always ends, but you miss the three around, whatever. There's some that you maybe need to keep, but I would be willing to throw away half your questions if you pull up something really great. It's a great benchmark and a guideline, but I'd be willing to throw it all away because you're chasing something awesome.
So after hearing from Evan some feedback, wanted to do a synopsis of the last time Evan was on. That episode was titled Unlock Your Untapped Potential. His favorite success quote was, "Your purpose comes from your pain." Key points included never quitting, helping others, surrendering your ego, model success, know yourself, grow and change, and if you had 60 seconds with your younger self, what would you tell yourself? He said, believe more. Believe more in yourself. Believe that things will work out. Believe you are capable of bigger things. So without further ado, we also had influential books from episode 11, but I will leave that to you to find on your own. That can be found at hhhpodcast.com. That's triplehpodcast.com that you don't want to miss out on. There were 4 influential books that Evan listed. You don't want to miss those. Again, go to triplehpodcast.com. That's hhhpodcast.com. After the interview, Evan shares a bonus out of nowhere. Someone listening will have the opportunity to have a one-on-one coaching call. You'll see how he throws it out there. It's beautiful. I appreciate him so much for being so generous, giving up his time. This is literally the best guest gift to my audience, to you, the listener, that has ever been given, because time is more valuable than anything, including money, including any product. Don't miss your chance to win this contest and this time with Evan Carmichael. It will be invaluable in helping you build your business, your career, whatever chapter you're in. This will be super helpful and provide a lot of clarity for you. Without further ado, let's dive right in.
Let's go. What episode is this?
108, I believe.
And what was our first one?
Oh, the number? Oh, man. You were episode 11 on the show, Unlock Your Untapped Potential.
Wow. All right, dude. You've been growing. I love it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. We talked all about never quitting, helping others, surrendering your ego, model success, know yourself, grow and change, and then, the 60 seconds with your younger self. You said believe more in yourself. You recommended some influential books, so I'll link that interview as well under this one. Excited to have you back on. I know speaking on the 4th of July weekend and talking back and forth, you're Canadian, I'm United States.
We're all North American. No, actually, right. I want to give you props because there's a lot of people who I speak to who are in their first, let's call it 10 to 15 episodes, who then that's it. That was their experiment. They tried it. It didn't work. They didn't get momentum. And so they quit. And I love that now you're you hit the 100 plus mark, and it just makes me so happy, man. I'm really pumped for you.
I really appreciate that. It's been a crazy journey. And like I said, I'm just trying to model success. It was a pre-commitment, right? I just decided that I was going to pre-commit to it. But I talk about that in solo episodes. We have you on the show, so I want to get information from you and speak with you about your operation. Give the audience kind of a brief synopsis of what it is you do and why.
Well, I think your purpose comes from your pain. So whatever you struggled with the most growing up is the thing that you'll want to help others with for the rest of your life. So I struggled the most as an entrepreneur. And so my purpose is to serve entrepreneurs, and hopefully people don't struggle in their businesses as much as I did. So I'm so pumped for Jonathan here to not quit and give up, because a lot of people do. What do? I don't know. It's a great question. I believe in entrepreneurs. I'm probably best known for either my books or my YouTube channel. The YouTube channel has about 2 million subscribers and 250 million views, where I profile a lot of what it takes to be a success in the entrepreneurial world.
And you have a very loyal following. Your following for Believe Nation is incredibly loyal. And I was speaking with you on Instagram Live. We talked about different things. One of them was you were recommending going on live every single day just to give people a friendly face, let them know that I'm consistent, that I want the best for people. And we ended up, there was toilet paper. Somehow it got involved, and somebody recommended starting a segment called Toilet Talk. I don't know if you remember that. So, yeah, it's interesting. So you recently spoke with a friend of mine as well, Kerry Hokama.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Yeah. He came onto the podcast early on as well. He was one of my first guests as well. So I always appreciate that. And, I don't know what it is. You said your purpose comes from your pain. So can you share with us how, I know we spoke about your story on the last interview, but I'd love to talk about kind of more tactical on this one. How is it that outside of a pre-commitment, right? Like, let's just say that's understood. You have to decide that, okay, no matter what the ROI for the next 3, 5, 10 years, I'm going to focus on building this, whether it's a side project or I'm all in. I'm going to be focused on consistently producing this high quality content or whatever it is for 3, 5 years. And only if it's working. And if it's not, you'll adjust, because there's a lot of people who are romantic about this idea and it's not going anywhere. Even though they're consistent as all get out, it's just like almost becomes a waste of time. Understanding, let's say it's not romantic, let's say you're committed to changing when necessary, adapting, doing what works. What is it outside of that? What else is there that's kind of a missing ingredient to that? Or is that all it takes to build something significant?
Well, this will be interesting because I'm actually not a big believer in pre-commitment. So this could be a good conversation. The only thing that I pre-commit to is my mission and none of the how to get there. So I think commitment is definitely an issue for people. I don't think people stay with it long enough, just like I said at the top, or they do 12 episodes and then quit. But I think the bigger issue is people don't try enough. I think people don't try enough things to follow their mission and just experiment to see if you like something. I think people settle way too early. And then I think the second problem is you tie your self-worth to the results instead of the effort that you're putting in. Yeah. I think for people to just say, I'm proud of myself for my effort. Like, I'm proud of my effort for what I'm putting in every day. And yes, at some point you have to get results. But if you're proud of your effort every day, you are going to get results. But at the beginning, it may not be the thing. Like, maybe you start a podcast, but then you figure out you like video better and you go off and do video, or you write books, or you speak, or you do coaching, or a whole bunch of other things. I think when you commit to the how, you're actually limiting yourself and playing small compared to what you're capable of.
I'll let that resonate. Speaking of coaching, last time we spoke, you mentioned, hey, use all of your interviews like a coaching call, kind of like a mentorship. You have been the first one to recommend that to me. 20 episodes later, roughly, I was interviewing my friend, Dr. Chris Zano, and he said something very similar. He almost said, be incredibly selfish with each interview and use it as a, whatever problem you're working through, use it as a coaching call, not to take advantage of people, but to then obviously understanding that giving generosity of, I'm going to broadcast this, I'm going to publish it so that I share it with the audience. And then because I'm acting as a proxy, it's much more relatable than even if I was just to say, okay, if there was a, blank person, how could this help them? Using myself as a conduit for my audience. That's what I do now, and it's been a great recommendation. So I just wanted to appreciate you for that and say thank you.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most selfless things that you can do.
Yeah, no, that's so important, and that was key. I know at the end of the interview last time you said, "Do you want some feedback?" And that actually was an incredibly interesting thing to see how people responded to that. So, Evan, I just want to share with you quickly, and the audience, I guess, as well. Since that conversation with you, I remember I'd re-listen to portions of interviews and just to make sure they come through clear in the car or through headphone audio. And I remember listening to that, and then I loved listening to the end because it was like a bonus piece of content. I'm in the car, I'm driving to my door-to-door sales job, knocking. Love that job, grateful for the experience. Since then, over episode 100, I'm looking into processes of outsourcing, into monetizing the podcast, into a bunch of different things. So now it feels like I'm actually ready to make some real moves to where this is going to be more sustainable. My problems that I'm facing now are not just scheduling time, prioritizing. A few problems. One is I haven't outsourced any of it yet. I still do everything, which just feels unsustainable and a waste of time, because if I outsource all of the busy work, I can have much more time to do the creative stuff that I actually have built skill around, which is interviewing and speaking with people and things like that. I guess I'll start with that.
Is the podcast making money to hire somebody yet?
The podcast is not, but my other work is. So I could use some of that extra funding to outsource and free up hours and hours to focus on other ideas. So basically the idea of executing on ideas versus grinding out doing the work.
Yeah, I think that's a personal preference thing. For me, I'm a lot more risk averse. So when I started doing my YouTube channel, I did everything myself. Everything myself. Even though I had 8 people in my business, I had money. I just liked starting myself just to taste it all. I only started hiring an editor. It was my first hire once I started making some money from it. What I would do though is whatever you think, if it were me, what I would do is I would go super light on everything else. Meaning, if you think you're great at interviewing people, then I
don't think I'm great, but I think that's where I should focus.
Well, okay, great. But what do you have Michael Jordan level potential at? So you need to focus on people. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So interviewing, awesome. So that's what you need to focus on. And the more time, here's the thing, if you're spending 80% of your time editing and 20% of the time talking to people, you're focusing on the wrong skill.
Okay.
Like, and I love the humility in saying, hey, I'm not great at that yet, but this is what I could be great at.
Yeah,
you won't get great at that if you're only spending 20% of your time doing it and 80% of your time editing.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's like
you'll never close the gap. Yeah. You're spending your time developing the wrong skills. You've gotten a lot better at editing, but who cares?
Exactly.
Said, Evan, like I want to be the greatest editor of all time. Awesome. No. But that's not your ambition. Yeah. So one path is to hire. I mean, you're fortunate that you have your job and you can afford it and put some budget against it. Awesome. I just philosophically hate spending money until I'm making money. Same. So you could hire. The best path is to get out of editing and into more people, so that instead of this time next year, you have, instead of 100 episodes done, 300 episodes done, right? But if I were you, I would sacrifice the editing. I would spend 20 minutes editing each episode, max. That's it.
Yeah.
Because the quality is going to come not from the editing, but from the conversations that you have with people and the ability to pull out insights from them that help you and therefore help your audience. But you're not spending enough time actually doing that work. So you need to spend more time with people. That's what you could be great at. But between now and next year, you need to have 300 new episodes done. So you practice it.
I like that idea. Okay.
Well, why? Why that suggestion? Because the quantity leads to the quality. The more you do, the better you get.
That's where it doesn't matter if I disagree or not. I appreciate the advice. Okay.
Well, let's talk it through. What's your aversion to it?
I do have an aversion to 300 because that is I love the idea of the quantity will lead to the quality. It's obsessive. It's consistent. It's like nonstop. It just will lead to natural momentum. I have no problem. I could do the 300, but only publish 100 of them, something like that.
Why not publish 300? What's the problem?
Well, I like the scarcity aspect. I almost like the exclusivity of, once a week there's a great interview coming out. The psychology behind that.
Yeah, but I think it's a losing mindset, frankly, as your best interview might be one that every video I make, I think is great, but it surprises me what pops and what doesn't pop.
True.
You're cheating your audience of a great if you become the greatest interviewer of all time, you're the next Larry King. You're the next Oprah Winfrey. You're our generation's version of that. And you're only publishing 1/3 of what you're actually creating. I think you're cheating the world of your gifts and the ability to have an impact.
That's true. Okay.
And listen, just time-wise, I mean, we're talking for 25 minutes or something today. I don't know how long your usual episodes are, but if it takes you 25 minutes to an hour to actually talk to the person and then do 20 minutes of editing only, that frees up a crap ton of time to go off and interview more people.
That is true. Okay. The funny question I think your audience would love to hear the answer to. Does your YouTube content provide a lot of revenue for you because you're republishing a lot of repurposed content? Are you able to monetize any of your videos?
Depends on who and why. Big companies, so if you're taking anything from NBC or from a CNN or from a giant media company, Oprah Winfrey or whatever, they'll monetize it almost always. So you make zero in terms of just advertising from it, but the play isn't really just advertising. But if that's a good starting point, I guess. And then for other people, smaller people, individual people, we make deals with Gary, Grant. Like Grant says, use everything I have. I have stuff that I haven't released yet. If you want access, tell me. We'll put it up. Because Grant doesn't want Grant Cardone, for those I guess who's
he wants to be seen.
He's selling out. He's trying to sell out 50,000 seat stadiums for his events. He's not trying to sell YouTube advertising.
So let's transition. I wanted to discuss habits and setting up work and content creation schedules. When you were first starting it out, right? Like I don't know how involved you are now. I assume it's probably fairly involved, but I'm sure I know you have a team. Messy action is so appealing to me. I don't care about perfection whatsoever. I want a polished quality product, but at the end of the day, like you said, quantity will lead to that popping quality. Can you discuss with us the habits, like what system you use to set up your work schedule and systems? Is there a book you follow to the T? Is there a system that you found work for you? And I know there's no prescription that works for everyone, but I am curious based on our personalities. I think that there might be some modeling opportunities there for myself.
So it starts with having a morning routine that sets you up for success. I go through 5 S's every morning. The most important thing, though, is that you're feeling bold and confident at the end of your morning routine. It's not just checking the boxes and I said, hey, I did this. You need to be feeling bold and confident for the day. If you don't have that feeling come out of your morning routine, then your routine is broken and you need to adjust it. You have to demand excellence from yourself, and that needs to come from your morning routine. From there, every day that I do maps to something different, and it changes on a weekly basis. So the two that relate the most to this is every Tuesday is my YouTube day, and that's where I film with my team. I have 24 people on my team right now. On a Tuesday, we'll film between 10 and 60 videos, depending on what's happening. So it's a lot of work, but it's all compressed into a Tuesday. And I just block off the whole day. And Tuesday is the day that I do all of my YouTube stuff. And that frees up the other 6 days a week to go after my other goals. Thursdays are my public facing day. So we're talking today on a Thursday, and all day it's these interviews, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes to the next person, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes to the next person. That's my entire day today. And it's back to back to back to back to back. And I love it. And it's my extrovert hat on day. All I have to worry about is trying to bring value to the people I'm talking to. And that gives me, again, creative freedom to do things on different days. So yesterday, for example, for me, is open. Wednesday is my project day. I get to work on whatever I want to work on. Nothing booked, 0 meetings, 0 team members, nothing. The whole day, whatever I want to do. So right now I'm working on my book. My next book is coming up. We're going to release in December or January. And so it's a big process to get through. When I'm writing that book, I need big blocks of time. I can't just write in these little half-hour stints. It takes me half an hour just to get into what I was writing. Yeah. And so I have the whole day open, free for me to work on the thing. Now, that may not be available to you. That may not be available to other people who are listening, who have jobs and can't control everything. But I think you need to at least have some blocks of time to create, and then some blocks of time to be the CEO of your business. So everybody needs to have Yep.
Are you using, for me, I sit down like once a month. I have a big calendar and I have a daily planner, and I use both. Do you do anything like that for I imagine there are some days where you, like you said, you have free reign, but are you also then saying, okay, like this time on this day, I'm doing this for this amount of time, and it's like that?
I live and die by my Google Calendar.
Really? Okay, there we go. That's what I was looking for.
Everything is in Google Calendar. I set the parameters that I feel I need to chase down. And my wife has access to it, and some members of my team have access to it. So even booking this interview, I mean, we didn't talk about, maybe you asked me, but I didn't tell you what time or when. It's all done through my assistant, who then puts it into my calendar, and I just show up on a Thursday expecting a full day of interviews, and I go back to back to back. I mean, it's great that we spoke already, and I already have some context on what you do. A lot of people's, it's first time stuff. Yeah. I don't sit down and analyze really. This is much more a feel thing. Like, I think your goals have to match your actions, or your actions have to match your ambitions, however you want to put it. So whenever I feel like something is out of sort in my life, if I'm not happy, if I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, typically it's because something broke in my calendar.
Got it. And
then if I need to, if I'm feeling that consistently, then I default to my calendar. Like, something has to change in my calendar so that this works. I remember going to Tony Robbins' event the first time I went. Everybody, I don't know if you've been to one, but everybody's coming out feeling rah, motivated, pumped up, like, amazing, I'm going to change my life and do all this stuff.
I'm sitting there maybe just being super cerebral and thinking, okay, this has to be in my calendar.
Yeah, like
has to be in my calendar.
When am I going to actually do it? Yeah, I love that. Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
In conclusion of the show, I am going to end it with a selfish inquiry. I'm at over 110 episodes, Evan, published. I'm interviewing bigger and bigger guests. I'm interviewing, quote unquote, obscure guests that are also just amazing people. Doesn't matter the level of notoriety. The guests are coming on, looking into starting to do in-person interviews. I'm focused. I'm willing to travel. I'm going to events. I'm gaining initial notoriety for the show. What would you recommend? And I'm not going to hold you, to it if it destroys my operation, because I know it won't. But either way, where would you recommend for me now? What's your feedback?
So a couple things. One, I would always try to default to video. We could have done video for this, and this could be a YouTube video for you. And then you could cut up clips and put it to your Instagram. And you build the more you can multi-purpose the content, the better. And maybe you're not ready yet, and that takes too many man hours and everything. But as you scale and grow, if we had a fire clip from this, it then becomes a 1-minute video on Instagram that then helps you build your brand and your show. It's a missed opportunity, because just showing little audio waves on a video file.
Can you put your video on?
I love that. There we go.
I just turned mine on.
Here we are. We got video.
What's up, Evan?
That's what I'm talking about, man. Idea to action right there. Action right there. So I would try to do video for everybody if you can. If they say no, awesome. But if you can, then great. And don't worry so much about, listen, your background looks great. I mean, some people are, maybe you like doing it in your pajamas, but you're branded. You got your brand right there on your shirt. There's no reason why not to do video and at least have it as an asset. I think leaning more still into making this selfish. Like we had a bunch of preamble at the beginning, 5-7 minutes, right away. Evan, here's what my audience is about, and I'm struggling with this. And that gives us more time to dive into whatever the thing is that you're struggling with. So I would definitely lean into that. Getting guests on is a mix of one, celebrity who just their name will help grow your channel. Like, oh, you got him. Oh, you got her. Or two, people who are willing to share it with their audience. They may have a smaller audience, but if they're willing to put it out there, that gives you more exposure. And then three, I would say I'd be asking questions and trusting your gut on them. Like something you're afraid to ask, that's the question you need to ask. Like even in the last question, you hedged it by saying, I'm not going to hold you to it if it doesn't work out because it might blow up my business, but I'm not worried about it. But whatever it is that you're afraid of, don't hedge. Don't hedge the question.
Yeah, I love that.
You're thinking of something and you're afraid potentially about a reaction. Nothing is fatal because your intention is good, because you're a nice dude, and people will, especially if they see you, will see that. And so even if you offend them, like if they take it the wrong way, you can recover from that. You just will, because it's not a mean-spirited question. You're not gonna say, "Hey, Evan, why are you so ugly?" Like it's not a mean-spirited question ever. And you're thinking of that question for a reason. And so I would just ideally lead with it. But as soon as you get an idea for a question, you ask it and don't hedge anymore.
I love that. Cool, Evan. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Can you share with the audience how we can connect with you best and show support to Believe Nation? So
I think if you want the books, you can go to Amazon. If you want to follow me on YouTube or Instagram or any social media networks, I'm there. And I want to do a pitch out to your audience, Heart Healthy Hustle listeners. If you guys have been following Jonathan on this journey, go send him some love too, man. I mean, it's hard getting 100+ episodes in the can. And if he's a part of your routine, go leave a review, go send some love, because he's pouring his heart out into this and dipping into his pocket to make it happen. And if you've enjoyed any of his content, just go leave a review, because it means a big difference for rankings and views and everything else. And so we would both appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Evan. I appreciate your time, sir, and I hope you have a awesome rest of your week, man. Thanks so much.
You know what? I want to throw one thing in.
Yeah.
If somebody, I don't know how you're going to track it. If somebody listens to this and then goes and leaves a review for Jonathan's episode, the podcast, I'm gonna do a 25-minute one-on-one with them, whether it's an interview, coaching call, public, private, whatever you want to talk about. Go leave a review on the show. And Jonathan will pick one person, and I'll do a private one-on-one with them.
Wow. You guys heard it here. Evan Carmichael, one-on-one, 25 minutes. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
Cool, man.
I hope you guys enjoyed that incredible time with Evan Carmichael on the Heart Healthy Hustle. When you leave a review, be sure to screenshot it and send me it through text, through a DM on Instagram, or email jonathan@thehearthealthyhustle.com. Don't forget the. I think a few of you have been sending me emails, but you're forgetting the first part of the domain, which is thehearthealthyhustle.com. Congratulations on making it to the end of this episode. What about this episode stood out to you? Next, I need your help sharing this show. I want this podcast to impact and reach 6,000 people per episode by August 31st, 2019. And I want us to reach 15,000 people per month by March 29th, 2020. Have you been enjoying multiple episodes of The Heart Healthy Hustle? I'm thrilled to share with you an exclusive invitation to join our new Facebook community. To get to know other Heart Healthy Hustlers, simply go to thehearthealthyhustle.com/Facebook, where you can expect to see different members of our community being featured weekly in Facebook Live calls. I appreciate all of your love and support, and I will see you in the next episode. As always, be generous on every occasion. There is a story for you, and live wide open.